good evening, and good evening. Welcome to Getting Real with Paula. My name is Paula Alphonse, and tonight my guest is Roen Higgins. Rowan, there's not enough words for me to say all I feel about Rowan, but let's try and keep it short so you get to experience it yourself. Rowan's passion is engage, educate, and empower others. And she does this through her public speaking, her transformational coaching, as well as her slam poetry. What I love the most about her is that she has a unique gift for connecting to her audience. Her flow, her delivery, and her words have you feel her message way deep into your soul. But enough said, let's bring her on so you can see for yourself. So, Rowan, could you tell us a little about you? Who
Sure.
you are? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Go, go,
Yeah.
go.
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And a little bit myself. Thank you for that introduction. But yes, born and raised in Montreal. So I have only been outside of the city to travel, but never to live and experience in that way. But it's a beautiful place. So I'm grateful to be a jerk poutine. And if you're trying to understand what a jerk poutine is, my parents are from Jamaica, where you have the blessed dish called jerk chicken, jerk pork, jerk everything. And of course, being a Quebecois, right? So, yeah, that's one way to say that have a little flavor. Sometimes it can be cheesy, just like you heard. But I just love working with people and engaging and connecting with others,
Mhm.
and just elevating impact in everything that I do. Helping especially young people who I believe I'll say emerging adults who are
Yes.
left hanging after 17. It's like you're with
Mhm.
your babies, you're with your children, you're with your teens, and after you say, okay, you're on your own, pick what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I have a very a serious bond with my emerging adults who last till 27 sometimes. So yeah, love working with young people, love empowering women, and creating awesome events that have to do with helping others connect. So
Mhm.
networking is my thing, and I love bridging people who I think would be a good match. So there's dating coaches. I love bringing anybody together, like network coaching. I guess it should be a name for that. So like I said, I love connecting. So I'm glad to be here. And after this, I'll be like, Paula, you need to know. I love that. So that's what I look for.
And I think that's all it is about community engagement. It's getting to know people and seeing how some different, not different people, but some different perspective can connect and create something even better. So I understand you're also in the education field,
Yes,
right?
I am. Yes. So I work for the
Yes.
school. I'm with the English Montreal School Board. October was my 20th year. I'm still in shock because, I'm feeling so young. I don't know how that
Oh,
happened.
please, you're barely 22.
Oh, merci, arrête. Yeah, so we're there, and this scary thing is when who I used to call my babies are now coming with their babies. So now I
Yes.
feel like I'm grand-mère. I'm like, how is this possible? Okay, I've been here that long that I have that second generation coming to school, and the mother and the fathers are saying, "Hey, miss, how you doing?" I'm like, just call me by my name, please.
Yeah. Now you can just call me by my name. We're good.
Yeah, so I work with special needs students, intellectual and developmental issues, and behavioral. So in my studies, I'm definitely qualified to work with all. My passion is mostly students with psychosocial behaviors, but because of
Mhm.
the rise of autism and we have a lot of different issues now, I'm just there as a support to the staff, to the teachers, to my colleagues to assist them dealing with the different needs that have come about.
I have heard you refer to your students as your kids. Can you
Mhm.
share some of the experience you have with them and what it brings to your life?
So yeah, before I had my daughter, who's now 17, I had many kids. um, you know, What they bring to my life in the beginning when I started working, well, before I even started my career, since I was 14, I worked in the community, the Black community centers of Montreal, 4 of them to be exact. And I loved working at the camps. That's where it all started, as an animator. So whether that's using music and, sing-along songs and bringing them to the park and figuring out the activities, just being an animator and helping them have fun during the summertime and not be bored is where it all started. And I'm a very animated person, but that's when I started to see the needs that they had. And coming from my past, that is something where I wanted kids to know that they can make it no matter what. Mm-hmm. And what it means to me, knowing that my mother walking the streets of New York 3 a.m. barefoot and having an infant holding my hand as a toddler and police stopping her, and from 2 twos, she's disoriented. She's having what you call from baby blues or postpartum depression to now full-blown schizophrenia. Mm-hmm. And here's the police saying, okay, we're heading to an orphanage. But, so if my aunts took us in where I was fostered by them and then fostered by strangers, which thankfully ended up being great. But since I was 15, I ended up being on my own. So I was the perfect example, if you would say, cookie cutter of an at-risk student, right? Not having an address at one point, being kicked out of school because it's not legal to not have an address. All that long-winded way to come right back to say, knowing that, and I was told that I would not make it by teachers, by certain family members, being told by an elementary teacher, you'll be dead at 16, and know that I can make it. I want kids to know that no matter what labels people put on you, you can make it. You're not clothing. Nobody's supposed to put any labels on you. You are great. You are, so better than that. You are greater than. How's that for a math equation? Yeah. All the negatives they try to do, you bring the positive. So that's what I love to bring to the table. And that's why kids matter so much to me. I want them to know that somebody believes in them. And even if that one negative teacher, there's probably 20 others that are there to see the best.
I love what you said, and it gives me chills because it's this sense that we put labels on children so very early in the school system, and then they spend their whole life trying to shake that off, because things you hear people talk to about, and the label they put on you, it feels like it's stuck on you and you can't shake it off. And having someone who can see that potential, that bigger could I say, that bigger potential, that bigger life that you can choose, rather than, I think you should go to the professional side and just, be a mechanic or whatever else, when you can see there's so many different opportunities. You describe yourself as a transformational speaker, poet, as well as a coach. And can you tell us, what do each of these titles mean to you and the audience you serve?
Sure. So years ago, I'll be invited to speak. That's the beauty of being an animator from young and an educator. People will ask you to be in different spaces and places and say, hey, can you just speak? And I'll be like, sure. And then after a while, people started dubbing me as what you call a motivational speaker. And then I remember feeling the word being interesting. And I know right away when you're a speaker, people like to say motivational, but we're not all motivators. And I feel for me, I get motivated very easy. I have so many individuals in the community like yourself, people who are beacons of light doing great stuff. And you're like, man, I'm motivated. But motivation's like fuel. I feel like you need to keep it up. And I may not be before that audience to motivate a child or inspire them with their mental health or their work, But I believe that my calling, is to help transform a life. So in my poetry, I inspire, I motivate, but sometimes I'm bringing concrete issues and I'm just dumping my feelings. Let's be real. My poetry is not going to just motivate, but it might transform or shift your perspective. And in my coaching, it's like, when you're a life coach, most of the time it's to help people change the behaviors. You want to lose weight? Okay, I'm going to help you set yourself up to lose weight. But in transformative coaching, I want you to see yourself differently. So it's the same thing when I'm speaking to my audience or I'm doing an event.
Yeah.
transformation events as well. I want the people that are there to know you're not going to come in, you're not going to leave the same way you came into this
Yeah.
space. It is a spark, not just to motivate, but for transformation, for you to leave with a baton for change.
Yeah. Uh, I've heard you speak. I've seen you in different forum, and I have to agree. You're about transformation. It's not the hooray, let's have a bit of fun and then walk away. It's really the sense where you put people in such a way that they have to think about what you said a
Mm.
little longer. Chances are they're going to walk away and still remember some of the things you said, some of the things that actually challenges them to maybe do better,
Yeah.
try harder, see bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you also do community coaching. And I'm curious, I'm totally curious in terms of community coaching. So, can you elaborate on what this is first? And then, what does it feel and look like when it takes place?
Yeah, well, thank you. So that was very new to me. I started the one-on-one coaching with called the Elevated Creative. So I realized after a couple of sessions with different people that all the individuals I was coaching were creative. Not only were they creative, they were multi-passionate individuals. So they had a 9 to 5 job and had like 4 different projects and they couldn't balance. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. I didn't realize I was attracting the same people. So I was just doing life coaching at first, but then I realized they were all the same avatars, if you will. So then after during the pandemic, I started running self-care groups. I've always done vision board parties. And I really feel energized by not just one person, but by having a community. So we see the trend, it's unfortunate I have to say that, but it is where self-care is a thing, where it's, oh, self-care is not selfish, which is true. We need to take care of ourselves. But people think it's des produits,
It's on the
water
outside.
bottle,
Yes.
right? It
Yeah.
goes beyond that. And I said, for me, it's not just self-care, it's community plus self-care. So it's community care, coming together and growing together, especially in a time where we're being told to socially distance.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, and it goes back to the origin of small groups or tribes, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just having that powerhouse circle. So I believe in a place in North America where we are already in families or household where you might be with one other person, we might be by myself, or just one, the community of extended families has dissipated.
Mm-hmm.
We're learning to just take care of ourselves. What would happen if we come together and help each other?
Yeah.
Nurture each other, enrich help each other expand. Now that to me is transformative. And I want to offer that. So that's how I'm here to serve.
Yeah, I love it. I tend to be a bit the same, and I guess that's maybe why we get along because we might have that same creative. We're all over the place, but then at the same time, there's certain connections between all of it. And for me, it's really also about community. It's about leaving the place in a better state than it was, and it's not just about me. It's about all the people. And from that perspective, to me, it changes the way you look at life because it's not about the bigger house, the bigger car, whichever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the sense of satisfaction when you see people get their act together or pull together to help someone else, it's completely different. It's completely different.
That's to me the money. You know the song like where the money resides? No, that is where my heart resides. To see people grow beyond they've even imagined or even
what
thought
they could do. Totally agree.
Going beyond the label that we even give ourselves. Now, sometimes it's not the people, your parents or the teacher.
We do our own.
We're the worst critics.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And we keep comparing to other people while we don't have the same gifts. We don't have the same talent. Why would I look like someone else if we're not meant to accomplish the same things? I often say when you look at a garden and you look at the flowers all over, none of the flowers are looking at the other ones and say, oh, her purple is nicer than mine. I should turn back and not look at the sun. There's none of that. But as humans, we're sometimes our own worst enemy. On a different note, I know you do spoken word. I want to find out what brought you to the spoken word and how long have you been doing this type of poetry?
All right. Well, once upon a time, I'm joking. Interestingly enough, it is a once upon a time story. I was at a show, a random, I don't know if you call it a variety show, and they said whoever's the first person to come on stage just to get a CD, first person gets a CD for free. And I love Paula. I love free stuff, you know. I ran and I didn't even use the stairs. I literally leaped up on I was very young at the time. I had that agility. Jumped on stage for the CD, and then the MC kind of, pulled one on me, and she said, "Okay, well, you have to do something." And she asked me to sing. Everybody in the crowd who knew me were like, "Sing, sing, sing." Working with kids and campers, my vocal cords were scratched. I was like, not happening. And I started to like freestyle rap. But, as I pray for an intervention so divine, when I heard you robbed, and I'm starting to pause and do this thing trying to get my next line, people were clapping. I got my CD. 4 different individuals came to me to sign me up for poetry shows. And one was like, "Oh, you're a dub poet? You're a spoken word artist?" And I'm like, "What?"
Hello.
And that's when I realized, if you had asked me before that, are you a poet? I've been like, no, because to me, poetry was Shakespeare, or Roses Are Red, or
Labels
like,
again.
Labels again, perspective. And it opened up a whole new world. And so it's been more than 18 years. My daughter's 17, so it was right before that. Might be going to the 20-year mark very soon. So
it doesn't matter. You're doing good.
Yes, it's
some people, not wanting to be rude, some people spend their whole life mastering a craft. So you started earlier, maybe than some, but I've heard you. By the way, it's not just about me. Let's put it in a different context. We have a short clip of one of your spoken word. It's called "I Am a Witness." And I would like to play it for the audience, if that's okay with you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay. For you, the audience, pay attention. I tell you, she's good. And it's about 4 minutes, and then we'll resume the conversation right after. So over to the clip.
I am a witness. I am a witness to another Black man saying, "I can't breathe." His last breath stolen by the person who's supposed to serve and protect, shouting for his mama while an officer forcibly kneels in his neck, his hands shackled in chrome steel bracelets while a passerby shouts out that he is in medical distress. Instead of an arrest, they laid this man to rest, forging another story that he was resisting arrest. I'm a witness of strange fruit being crushed against concrete, freshly pressed by the knees of an officer of peace. The juice of a human life pouring out of its vessel, trying to find its soul, lost in the streets. Sweet to the one who just picked another nigga from the tree of life, bitter to us who still has to fight this fight. The undertaker in uniform wiped his hands on his pants, as if he was dusting off fertilizer, proud to bury another Black man. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You see, it's open season, and the reason is that he carries a license to capture or kill those who fit the description. Citizens shouted to the police that he is human. They reply, "This is why we don't do drugs, kids." Reminiscent of the 90s anti-drug ad featuring Pee Wee Herman. I am a witness to the synonymy of Blackness and criminality reflected in society. Here is the evidence. They just planted another lie on a Black man. Now it's our choice to believe the stereotype, the autopsy, or what we see. I am an eyewitness to a modern-day lynching, tormented by constant images that go viral on screens globally, gripped in a chokehold on our big screens, the smartphones. Yet, yesterday we were trending in our business, fashion, music, and challenges. But when it comes to our lives, TikTok don't rush. I'm a witness to another assassination throughout cyberspace, the reoccurring onslaught of Black men and women desensitized. My eyes blinks at microaggressions and systemic racism, killed in broad daylight so we can only see ourselves in darkness. Normalizing these images of dead Black bodies so no one will care, including ourselves, yet deep down there is a sickening response to the tears and blood pooling beyond chalk lines. My eyes follow the crimson footprints now washed away by their lies, and pain leaves. I no longer want to be a witness to what comes next. Hashtags like "no justice, no peace." Say their names, the likes, the shares, the silence, the rage, the fear, the marches, the protests, the looting, the soldiers dying in the front alongside our allies. We are shell-shocked, numb, sick and tired. These are the symptoms of PTSD. Whether we march, kneel, or speak, our voices are unheard in the streets. Every living thing on this earth retreats or reacts or stands still until the threat passes. So please stop asking our people who are paralyzed to walk with you. Stop judging others for not speaking up when their vocal cords are shot from screaming, crying for babies they never birthed and yet feel the contractions of these now household names that they can't even remember, but their faces are etched in my mind with their mother's cry looped over and over, this never-ending soundtrack. We are forever in labor with pain that our children will never belong or feel accepted, that they are guilty in being groomed from preschool to prison. Before they leave their house, they are reminded by their mamas, child, stand tall, smile, look straight so you won't come off too hostile. Keep your hands where it can be seen. Move slowly, never run. Don't hang out on the streets. Keep your hoodie off. Comply. Answer their questions cordially and politely. And whatever you do, just stay calm and keep the camera rolling.
I have chills. I'm sorry. I have chills all over my arms and my back. And this is not the first time I've watched it. It is breathtaking. The performance, but for me, it's not just about the performance, it's also about the authenticity in the words selected, in the description of the context, in the reality of the people you're speaking about. So yeah, clap, 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 clap. I'm your friend. I'm your fan now. There's no question there.
Appreciate
I
it.
understand that being authentic for you in your dialogue is key to who you are. Can you expand on that?
I think even my work is inspired by just emotion. So when this whole thing had happened with George Floyd, for example, I had nothing to say. I had nothing to say. I had written pieces from the Mike Browns and the Trayvons. I was like, I'm done. The Sandra Bland, like Sesame. I was stunned like the rest of the world, but it did not come in words. But when I saw everyone's reactions on how they were attacking each other and saying, Paula, you better speak up. If you don't speak up, you're part of the problem. And I didn't like that attack. And I just started to get fueled again. I said, is this what we're doing? Is this what we're attacking each other? When, some people just don't have the voice. And that's where it was birthed. So it's not that I even tried to be true. I think after a while, I realized it's one of my top values, to be honest, to have integrity, to be real and keep it 100, as we say. But in the beginning, it's just my natural, my top values is it's gratitude and respect. And to me, respect is part of that truth. So yeah, I definitely, for the last 20 something years, it is about authenticity. But prior to that, it was just my natural go-to to be honest and to stand in truth in whatever I do.
I think we're going through, at least this year, the pandemic, the George Floyd, all of this. It's as if everything is happening. It's a culmination point where something's going to emerge. And what I liked about the way you spoke, you had us feel those emotions. But then at the same time, it's not from a perspective of let's complain. It's like, what are we going to do? How do we manage this? It's a big piece, and not all of us are going to react the same way. Not all of us are going to see it the same way. And in the larger context, not every single person out there is out to get us, but we still need to ensure that our voice is heard.
Yeah. And someone else might have to speak for it. You might have to speak for me when my voice is gone, and vice versa. And that's okay. If you just want anyone listening to this, If you cannot speak up or fight another day, that is okay. Rest, rest,
Mhm.
rest. And those who take on that banner for the rest of us, thank you. That's what my piece is. Just, it's okay not to be able to even know what to say. On a fatigue, like you real talk, that is all right. We're not always going to be soldiers and warriors. It's time to
Mhm.
take a rest. So yeah, that's where I stand true by, because I get tired too working in
Mhm.
the community. I took a sabbatical. It's like, I'm done. I need to
Mhm.
refuel myself.
Yeah, because you can't pour from an empty
An
cup.
empty cup. That's right.
Period. In terms of Black history, what is the message that you wish all Canadian would remember?
Wow. So I just recently did something on this, and the question is like, what does Black history mean to me, and my message? And I truly believe that growing up in Canada, when Black history was not being taught, but when I got exposed to it, it was looking at culture, right? Like for me, Black history was what I saw yesterday from my friends, what we wore, how we spoke, but we emulated a lot of what we saw in United States, the hip hop culture, the R&B, or when I used to see like, the Afro commercials, the Afro sheen, that to me originally was Black history. After when I got into college, actually there was a school called the Costa Hall Summer School, and that's where I saw our first Black history class ever. And then I got to know more. It still wasn't there until when I was in the schools working, and at the camps. I worked at Black camps,
Mhm.
Malcolm X Day Camp in Montreal, right?
Mhm.
Patrice Lumumba, and all these different great camps. Even Mandela, I worked at the Chalet in Mandela Park.
Mhm.
So this is how I had a connection, but I still didn't understand. So then I'm like, if I never learned my Black history, and I'm educating kids and I'm in the schools and they're not ever hearing about themselves, and that goes for all students, by the way, but especially our Black students, nobody's learning
Mhm.
about their origin. They're learning Quebec history
Yeah.
and world history, which is about war. And in the
Mhm.
history book, I remember them skipping one chapter, Africa. I remember that in high school. And the other chapter was Greek mythology, and we studied mythology over Black history. So
Mhm.
that's why I started something called Truth Empire, because I said, there's something wrong. Our youth need to know where
Yeah.
they come from to know where they're going. We've heard of that passage.
Yeah.
But I really want them to have the roots, the truth, and
Yeah.
the empire, which is giving you the tools to build something, to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
And my thing is, in Canada, we have rich history that I
Mhm.
want our youth and even people my age.
Learn.
There's so much I don't know.
Mhm.
And there's always a day to learn something else. There's so much rich history here. And I believe we need to, as Canadians, Black Canadians, tap into that. And if you're not Black and you're listening and you're an educator or a parent, tap into that, learn it and share it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is one of those moments when you feel like saying, preach, preach, preach. Because yeah, it's ridiculous. Because I know for me, with my kids, early on, I ensured that they had books and as well as movies from other countries, not just the
That's right.
US, because US is a country, but it's not everything. And that they could see other types of life, because you have this illusion that everything is hip hop or mainstream America, but that's not it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to say that I know a little bit more, but
Mhm.
I have to be honest, how much of the Black Canadian history, there's still work to do. There's still a lot of work to do for in our communities, because it's not something that you can get your hands on easily. A lot of it is through talking to people, being involved in the right scenes, having maybe a friend who has connection and things like that. So this is still very much of a oral transfer of information. So we at least as a community, we need to get better on that.
And continue to share our stories. You are Black history. I am Black history.
Yeah,
Let
we
them
have.
see that what we're doing is for the betterment of society.
Yeah.
That's what makes you.
We're building. We're
Yeah,
building
we're
it
building. That's it.
every day.
Every day.
What is the hardest lesson you've had to learn as a mom or as an entrepreneur? And how has that lesson influenced who you are today?
That's a rich question. Yes. I would say, as a mom as well, that was one of the biggest lessons I had last year. You are not in control of everything. Simply put,
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, as women, as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
we learn the hard lesson that things will come our way and we are not in control. But what we can control is the way we react.
Yes.
Because I've seen some sides of me, and when a crisis happens, usually I'm just like, oh, let's go. We're good. We'll get through this. But then I saw something happen in my life where I was like, oh, Sikisa, like, who are you? Where's this? Your reaction just shows you, like, where is that warrior or person that's of faith?
Mm-hmm.
But it made me realize there's certain things I thought I was in control of. Like, no, we're good. I paved the way. And I put up preventative measures and barriers and put the locks on the door, and something broke in. No. So I would definitely say that. And what it has done for me recently, because yes, I'm a person that I've gone beyond surviving. Now it's like, okay, how can I thrive even in the storm? And what it has taught me is that we are no light cannot exist without the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And through the darkness that we've all experienced, we've all had trials and tribulations, no matter what degree, that light continue to shine. Do not let your ember go out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, when you feel like I'm done, take your rest. But even if it's just a little shine, keep shining through and make sure you tell your story, because that story helps your light shine brighter and can ignite someone else. Be the spark.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's in short.
I still have chills. I'm telling you, you're giving me chills every single time we talk. On this, it's interesting for me because the pandemic is, to me, a huge change management situation. This is where we have to learn what it is that we are in control of and what it is that we need to let aside. Concentrate on what it is that you can do about. And part of getting real with Paula was that. How do you help people realize that? Stop worrying about those things you can control.
That's right.
Figure out what are those things you can strive to improve, and then work on that. That gives you that sense of, whew, okay, it's not that bad, because otherwise it feels like my whole life is in somebody else's hands.
That's
And
right.
it creates a huge amount of stress.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We learn. And trust me.
We have. It's about pivoting. They said are you maintaining?
Yeah.
Or are you just pivoting? Are you pausing? Right? Are you just trying to make that move? And that's okay. So that was a big lesson for all of us.
Yes, wherever you are is the right spot to do something different, something better, something that will get you closer to what you need. And that's the portion that at times we forget those, and we see this huge hurdle arrive, this huge obstacle, and all of a sudden, okay, I can't take this no more. There's too much. Let me go. It's okay. You can be discouraged, but wake up the next day, pick up the ball, and see what can you do about it.
Yeah.
If you know me, you know that I'm all about boundaries. And trust me, my boundaries have also been tested during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What boundary have you implemented in your personal or your professional life that has created the most personal growth or space for you?
I would definitely say the demands of others. I love to help others, and I'm one of those people that would overexhaust myself. And I can't blame other people. I did that on purpose. It's just like, oh, you need help? You need help? I have 8 tentacles. I'm an octopus. Let me do it all, right? And as you get to a point where you either burn out or you realize, 1, you're not being valued in certain spaces. 2, you're not really putting your energy in what you really love to do or what you believe you are here put on this earth for. If I'm purpose driven, but I'm working on everyone else's purpose, it's good to support. And I do believe in servant leadership. However, I need to have that, if that my legacy, I'm not tapping into that. So that is so key. So I learned to set boundaries. So if everyone's like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Sure, no problem. Now it's like, okay, pause, please hit me my email. I get too many stuff in my DMs or too many. So I had to create order. And I don't care if you're the president of United States, hit me my email. Like really just put that value in how I know my process is and how I have to be organized. Like, Google Calendar, different things like that. So I had to start setting up these parameters that it told myself, I'm valuing my time. This is how I'm going to be organized. And whoever wants me to be in partnerships or even want a referral, hit me up in this way and fashion. And then I can serve better by being, on top of my game and also healthier. It's about self-care again.
Yeah, it's definitely about self-care. And I love what you're saying about being on top of your game, because when you're helping everybody else and you're not doing what you need to do for yourself, it actually drains your energy. While I'm actually doing those things that bring passion and nourishment to my soul, then for some reason, I still have a little bit left over. Oh, you need that? Okay, let me see in my schedule. Okay, I could fit you in here. And then, we could do this. Let me start the ball going, and then I'll pass you the baton and you can keep going. And that's the portion we sometimes forget, especially as mothers. We tend to be there for everybody else. We are the beat and the be all for everything, and then we wonder what happened when we're tired and how come nobody's checking on us. I just showed everybody that I was a superhero. They don't think I need help. So it's those elements. It's important to take our own pulse and ensure that, hey, I need to figure out what is weighing me down before I can even try and assist someone else.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been a really gorgeous conversation.
Always.
I want to ask, how can people get in contact with you or hear about some of your activities?
So my name, Roen Higgins, ROENHIGGINS. That is my handle on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn. So they could just search my name and I'll be there. Not good on the Twitter, y'all. I'm just saying you might get left in the cold. Working on it.
It's okay. You can't be everywhere.
Can't be everywhere. And it's about platforms that you are it's like people who like iPhone versus Android. It's all about interface and what you prefer to use. So I'm more engaging on IG and FB. And please reach out. Anything to do with empowering, engaging, expanding others as an educator, poet, and speaker, and events. I love collaborating for events. And I would be remiss if I did not mention, sometimes you accept invitations and you never know who you might find or what you might experience. And that is how I got to meet the amazing Paula. We were on a panel for mental health. So I just want to say, thank you to the God, thank you to the universe, the alignment, the celestial alignment that we got to connect, and to see where you have come with this amazing platform is getting real for me, and I'm loving it.
Thank you. You're so sweet. And it's true. I remember being at the Salon International de la Femme Noire, and there were so many gorgeous people. And we're not talking just from the perspective of physical, but it's beauty inside and out. There were messages. And I remember sitting at that panel with you, and I would hear, there were four of us, I would hear the other people talk, and I'm like, another beautiful soul. And I'm like, yes. And I tend to be, as I mentioned, a bit like you. I like honesty and authenticity. So I don't like to give the sense that, oh yeah, everything's under control. You do this, you do that, and all is good. So it's just like, if you're doing it, do it real. Do it for real. Don't do the fake, because fake doesn't get anybody anywhere. So thank you. I also bless the soul, universe for bringing us together. And
Yes.
I am hoping that we get to see each other again. By
Oh,
the
no.
way, just so you know, she's coming back in March. That's another conversation, but you'll hear more about that. Yeah, she's coming back in March.
Yes.
I won't tell you what it is about, but she's coming back. So
Oh man,
it
honestly,
was
God is good. This is amazing. So I'm just happy to be here for honesty.
likewise, likewise. And thank you very much. Thank you, our listeners, for being here with us tonight. Hope you enjoyed our conversation. And I would say just, write her name on the Google thing. She has a website. She's mentioned where she is on Facebook and as well on Instagram. And go see some of the things she does. You might be even more interested than this 30-minute conversation we've had. So have a great week, everyone, and see you soon.